20s. A lot of people ask me, is it still possible to become financially free today? And the answer is yes, absolutely, if you've got the right plan. So by the end of this video, my goal is for you to have a clear roadmap to get financially free as quickly as possible. Let's get into it. Step one is to find your freedom figure. Your freedom figure is the amount you need to live your life without having to worry about money ever again. Once it's invested correctly, it will generate enough passive income to fully support your lifestyle without ever running out. I'll talk more about investing later on, but first we need to nail down what that figure is for you, as this isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, because financial freedom means different things to different people. So the first thing you need to do is set your financial freedom baseline. Maybe you want a life where you go on vacation more often, drive a sports car, live in a mansion, or buy a private jet. Just bear in mind, the fancier the lifestyle you're aiming for, the tougher it'll be to get there. Personally, I've always valued the freedom that comes from not having to chase money over living a lavish lifestyle. So I made a rule early on to only increase the quality of my lifestyle slightly each and every year. Let's go through the different areas of your life and estimate what each one might cost to live comfortably. I'll be basing this on studies that show what people in their 20s typically aspire to. Now, grab a piece of paper and feel free to adjust the numbers to match your own goals. In our example, that adds up to 30,000, 24, 5. Right, that's $75,325 a year. How's that for a bit of quick maths? Now, to find your freedom figure, take that yearly number and multiply it by 25. We use 25 because of a rule called, wait for it, the rule of 25. Who'd have guessed that? This rule is a way to figure out how much you'll need invested so that you can take money out each year without ever running out. In our example, 75,325 multiplied by 25 gives us $1,883,125. Think of it like having a golden goose that lays just enough eggs each year for you to live on. As long as you only take the eggs and don't eat the goose, it keeps producing more eggs every year. That way, you can keep living off the eggs without ever using up your main money stash. This is assuming you're able to get more than a 4% return on your money. And while past results aren't a guarantee of future returns, the average annual return of the S&P 500 over the last 10 years has been around 12 to 14%. Although this is slightly higher than the longer term average, no one has ever lost any money if they have bought and held an S&P 500 index fund for more than 20 years, based on historical averages. So how do you invest in the S&P 500? Well, just download an investing app like Trading 212. Once you're in, search for an S&P 500 ETF, which lets you invest in the top 500 US companies all at once. Trading 212 lets you invest in something called fractional shares. This is great as it means the stock market isn't just for the rich investors anymore and the average person can get involved. If you're just starting out, it's a good idea to use a strategy called dollar cost averaging. This basically means you're investing the same amount on a consistent basis, whether the market is up or down. The idea is that over time, this will help you average out your costs so that you don't buy all in when the market is at its most expensive. Rather than doing this manually, you can actually set up the app to invest automatically for you on a regular basis using the Pies feature. Step 2 is to hack your life. I get that reaching your freedom figure in an investment account might seem like an impossible task. It definitely felt that way for me when I first started, but there are a few strategies that can help you get there faster. I highly suggest taking a closer look at all the areas where money might be slipping through your fingers. Chances are you're spending far more than you realize on things that don't really matter to you. Don't worry, I'm not going to lecture you about skipping Starbucks or making packed lunches every day. I'm sure you've heard enough of that advice from my shorts. Instead, I want to show you clever ways to keep living the life you love while saving money through some smart hacks. Let's kick things off with car hacking because I think a lot of people need to hear this. Social media might have you thinking that everyone is driving around in Range Rovers and Lambos, but let me tell you, that's usually not the case. Most of these people have their cars on finance or loans, paying hundreds of dollars every month just to keep up appearances. According to LendingTree, the average monthly car payment for a new vehicle in 2024 hit a whopping $734. That's almost $9,000 a year down the drain. The worst part, most people can't even afford these payments, which is why there are around 100 million Americans with outstanding car loans right now. So let me give you some advice. Don't get sucked into this trap. Just because your mates are taking out car loans doesn't mean you have to. Instead, think about car hacking. This means buying a quality used car that's already hit the bottom of its depreciation curve. You can drive it for a few years and then sell it for close to what you paid. No massive monthly payments and no debt hanging over your head. Next up, let's talk about something I like to call brand hacking. This is all about picking generic or store brand products over the big name brands to save a bit of cash without losing out on quality. A study from moneySavingExpert.com actually found that people can save up to 87% by going with generic versions instead of the branded items. But let's get practical so you can see what I mean. Here's a box of Cocoa Pops, absolutely classic, everyone loves them, and I always keep a box under my desk, but they cost around $4.25 for a box. And here's a box of Choco Rice, the unbranded version, which costs around $1.66 a box. By choosing the unbranded cereal, you're saving $2.56 each time. And honestly, I bet most people couldn't even taste the difference. Plus, you get 500 grams over the 290 grams in the branded box. So it's going to last nearly twice as long. I know what you're thinking. $2.56 isn't going to make me a millionaire anytime soon. Well, actually, if you save $2.56 every day, that's $934.40 a year. Do that for 5 years and you've saved $4,672. And that's just from one small swap. Think about how much you could save by making similar swaps in other parts of your life. It's all about those small adjustments adding up over time and making your money go further. Now for the big one, house hacking. As we know from step one, housing is usually your biggest expense, but what if you could reduce or even completely eliminate that cost? You're probably expecting me to say live with your parents or go for a smaller apartment. And while those are good options, they don't suit everyone. So here's a smarter strategy you can use. Instead of getting a typical apartment, think about getting a duplex or a property with an extra room or two. Sure, this might mean a slightly higher deposit up front, but it's worth it. You live in one unit and rent the other one out, using this rental income to cover most, if not all, of your mortgage. That way, you're effectively living for free while building equity in your home. You can also do this if you're renting. Recently, I went to a nice Airbnb near London Bridge. It was a fantastic spot and I got talking with the Airbnb host and found out that he actually rented the place for $4,000 a month. When he rented it out on Airbnb, he would just go and stay at his girlfriend's. I did some quick maths and worked out that he only had to rent out the apartment for 10 days to cover all of his rent. Pretty smart if you ask me, but of course he did have to get a nice enough apartment with a good view for it to rent out well on Airbnb. But if you're prepared to take on a slightly more expensive place, then it will be easier to get bookings on Airbnb. Just make sure to clear it with the landlord before doing this, as it could cause a lot of issues if you're not upfront about it.